Hi again, it's Amy Lillard with the Behind the Olympia Curtain on March 3rd. 1 week left of session, if you can believe that or not. I cannot believe it. So again, I'm Amy Lillard. I'm the Executive Director of Washington Filmworks and WhipSmart. Thanks for being here and being part of this process. Hilariously, we started this week and our lobbying team said, you know what, there's a big fiscal cutoff on Friday. There's not going to be a lot of movement on the bills this week. And then what do you know? They were totally wrong. Like there has been so much going on this week in many positive ways that we are going to talk to you about. But it was a very busy week with lots happening. As I started the little chatty chat tonight, we have 1 week left. 1 week left. The session is over next Thursday, and there is a lot left to do, even though we made great progress this week. Tonight, I'm gonna get a little weedy. I'm gonna get into the weeds and tell you a little bit more detail about the legislative process, because I think it's important as we move into these final days of session. So I'm going to start by talking about the fact that we must pass a bill through both the House and Senate, and it must be the same bill with the same language that gets passed in each chamber. So that is the goal. We spent a tremendous amount of time this week aligning to the best of our ability the language that is in the Senate bill and in the House bill, in our goal being there that they look a lot alike when they move over to each chamber. And what's interesting is, in the interest of time, again, 1 week, 7 days, nobody's counting, elected officials will likely choose one of those bills to continue moving through the process. We have no idea which bill that is at this point. But what I can tell you, and the really great news, is that in each of those bills, we're holding strong at that $20 million a year in each of those bills. So let's talk a little bit about where each bill is in the process. Breaking news right here this evening. We found out this afternoon that House Bill 1914 has been moved out of rules and is now eligible for a vote on the House floor. You will be seeing coming into your inbox or on social, if that's where you're following us, an action alert, very similar to the one that you saw yesterday for the Senate bill, asking you to write your House representatives. So you have one senator, as a reminder, and one representative, or two representatives. Oh my goodness, what's going on? So you have one senator and two representatives. And what we do is we make sure that you have all the tools in your toolbox you need to make this easy. So when you see that action alert, what we've done is we've given you a link, if you don't know your district, to find out what district you live in. We give you a link to all of the contact information for your elected official, and we give you a sample letter to use as inspiration. So here we are, sitting in great positions. We have both of our bills in the Senate and the House primed to go on the floor for a vote. They don't tell us when the vote is going to happen. So it's our understanding from our incredibly talented lobbying team that we will either get somewhere between 15 minutes and 2 hours of notice. So the reason I'm bringing this up is we can't tell you when that vote's going to happen right now. But what we need you to do is, when you see those action alerts, the one that went out yesterday for the Senate, the one that is going out today for the House, you move on it in that moment. We are so close to the end of session. I'm going to change my language tonight. I talk a lot about being, something feels possible, something feels real positive. And it's not a done deal. It's going to be a roller coaster of a ride all the way through the end of session with twists and turns. But we need you to hang in there with us. We're going to issue those action alerts. I'm like a broken record. I realize that. Take the 2 minutes, write your representative, write your two representatives and your senator. And just remember, $20 million a year is on the line. So it takes you 2 minutes. Please, please keep at it. I want to pause before we move into our special guest, whom I'm excited to introduce you to, and just acknowledge all of the work that this industry has done so far. And this is not just about today or this session. It's those years of advocacy. It is the years of going down to film day. It is the years of writing your elected officials in the off season. It is all of your contributions to all of the Keep Film and Walk campaigns. That is why we are feeling positive about where we're at and really pushing this through the finish line. Your voice matters. Your advocacy matters. I thought it'd be really fun as we move into this final push of the session to invite some incredible advocates to the conversation. We've been longtime partners with Women in Film Seattle, and they have always been great advocates for the film industry and have done some particularly interesting and wonderful things this session. And so I would like to invite our special guests, Virginia and Andrea. Hey.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Well, how are you?
It's good to see you, Amy.
It is, the pressure is on, right? It's all happening. 7 days. No one's counting but me, I'm sure, but 7 days. T-minus 7 days. But I am really, I am really happy to have you here and want to thank Women in Film Seattle for their efforts this session, which we're going to talk about, but your advocacy efforts in general for women in film and for the film industry over the years. Virginia being an emeritus board chair, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time, I think, right? You're to blame for women in film, right? Historically.
I have been with Women in Film for a very long time. That's why I have that status, President Emerita. I am not the current president, but I have the emeritus status.
Well, for those that are listening in and might not know anything about Women in Film Seattle, tell us a little bit about the organization and the work that you do.
So basically our goal is at Women in Film, we're committed to working for gender parity and access, to promoting diversity and advancing the careers of women and women identified and gender nonconforming filmmakers working in the film and media industries. Mm-hmm. We were established in 1990, and then we became, as an organization of professional women filmmakers, but we also have student members and men members as well, and became a nonprofit in 1993. Wow. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. We offer programs and events, and we partner with other nonprofits like Seattle International Film Festival, Northwest Film Forum, the Seattle Film Institute, Film School, Seattle Film Summit. We partner with you and the city and the county, and the state. Yeah. So basically that's it. And we offer programs and grants and events. And I'm going to actually let Andrea talk a little bit about that too. It's some of our primary things that we focus on.
And I've been with Women in Film for since like 1990 going, but I just joined the board and was elected to the board this last year. And I'm really happy to be taking over the second Tuesday slots and helping with the workshops. And we're really taking women in film into like a new era. I mean, I know that sounds cliche, but we really are. With more accessibility and reaching out, especially to the independent filmmakers, of which I am part of, and just getting more people involved so that because yes, we have a lot of professional women in film in Seattle, and a lot of it is the corporate, the big shoots, and my job is to reach out to like, hey, you're on a 48, great, come and talk about it, because we need to, you got to start somewhere. So we're not just, we're not like, hope none shall pass. I'm sorry, you had to have won an Oscar. That's silly. We're, it's like, oh, we've met, we had a 15-year-old at one of our meetings, and she wanted to join. Now her mom had to sign her up because she didn't have her own credit card, but she really got involved. And of course, then the pandemic happened. But so in the upcoming months, in March, we have a town hall with our new president, Lindy Boucher, and she's going to be taking your questions. We have, we're going to be teaming up with Durego to do a weapons workshop. We're teaming up with the Seattle Film Summit to present this really cool new format called an altered reality game. I know it's been around for a while, but film is getting more and more into it. And it's one called What Happened in Skinner, and we'll be discussing that in April. But definitely tune in the first Tuesday in March, next week, for the town hall meeting. Have your questions ready.
I have to say, having been to many women in film meetings in the past, it is always an environment, A, where I feel welcome, and B, where I meet new people every time. I miss being there in person. I'm delighted to still be able to see you online. But like every time I walked in those rooms, I would be like, who is that? Who is this? Who is that? And it was like, it's incredible, right? You are conveners, which is part of the gift of, being part of women in film. And I also love that I see a lot of men there. Right?
Yes.
They to feel welcome too, which is such, which is such a tribute to you as leadership, welcoming people into the circle. So I want to pivot a little bit because I think that Washington State has a really strong reputation of supporting women filmmakers and women in film. And you see a lot of, we've had the pleasure of working with a number of the directors through our incentive program. SJ, and I don't want to leave anyone out, so I'm not going to say the whole list, but
right.
There's so many. So I'm curious to know from your perspective in the positions that you're in and in the community, why do you think Washington is a great place to be a female filmmaker? What makes it that way?
You mentioned filmmakers too, and a lot of those outstanding women filmmakers are members of Women in Film Seattle, and we're really proud of that. I have often wondered why women filmmakers are so successful in Seattle and in the Pacific Northwest, and why it's just this fertile ground for women artists, women filmmakers. And I don't really have an answer for that, but and it's kind of a $1 million question, but I will posit that there's this kind of sweet combination of independent spirit and collaboration here that was necessary for survival and certainly is necessary for creating any kind of art. And here there's this ability to see forward in the Pacific Northwest that makes it a perfect ground for the seeding of art and filmmaking. There's an openness and an acceptance of diverse stories and the human journey and women's journeys and indigenous people's journeys and stories of people of color and people who may choose to live their lives outside the average playbook, but who are all an integral part of that book, that American book. And I also think too that women are more collaborative by nature, and that works very well for the filmmaking process. Women also nurture a production where I think men have a tendency to dominate a situation. And as a director or producer of film, you're a leader, and women lead differently. And I think there's an openness to that difference in leadership style. Or maybe it's just that this area attracts strong creative women who just persist. I don't know. But we do.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah, we do on all fronts. Do you have anything to add to that? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, Andrea, but do you have anything you want to add to that kind of conversation?
No, it's like a stepping stone too, and unfortunately, every day we lose so many good filmmakers to Albuquerque and LA. So I'm digging my heels in, like, no, we got to keep filming Washington. So I'm trying to do my part by, like, you know, like, come on, we're all in this together. Let's do it. Let's make a film. You know, and I know that sounds sappy, but it is sad that, and this is why I'm happy that you guys are trying to get more incentives so that we can keep filming Washington, because we train all these great talents. I meet a talent and it's just like, oh yeah, this woman's awesome, and then, oh, I'm moving to Albuquerque. Like, oh, okay. So you know, this is what I think we need to focus on, is like how keep film in Washington, but keep filmmakers in Washington. Do a better incentive, be more open and, you know, inclusive, and so that's why we need people like you, Amy.
Well, we need each other, right?
Yeah, we need each other. But you go and talk to those guys, and I'll go and talk to the crew, and you know, we'll be and we'll be fine. But yeah.
Just kidding. So one of the things that, you know, as you know, I've been doing this job a long time, and one of the things that always keeps me going is when the community, and, you know, I met with the leadership from Women in Film, and I asked if you could write us a letter to use in the campaign. And I read your letter, and it literally captures the spirit of what I love about this community so much. And look, I have goosebumps like a geek. I mean, and it was poignant, and it was powerful, and it told a story, and I have goosebumps. And it just was in that moment when I read it, because there are ups and downs for our staff because we're working real hard. I literally sat at my desk and I said, this is why I do this job. So it is an incredible letter. I hope that Women in Film shares it. But tell me about what's in that letter. Tell me why you thought it was important as an organization to participate in the way that you did. And, you know, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we are an advocacy group. I can never say that word. And we advocate for ourselves and for filmmakers and for women. And this Senate Bill 5760 and the House Bill 1914 are important because they would raise this annual allocation for the Motion Picture Competitiveness Program to $20 million annually. And this would provide opportunities for women working in the film industry, and actually opportunities for skilled workers in the film, and any skilled workers in the film industry. And also many other, it'll provide general opportunities. And that's what that's what it's about. We want jobs, you know, we want jobs here, and this will help create jobs and bring jobs here. We found that film productions spend 50% of their budgets in local businesses like hotels, car rentals, caterers. They buy props, rent equipment, we buy building supplies, and we go shopping for wardrobe. Craft service, you know, like we spend gobs of money at Costco, for instance, and I don't know any coffee shop that hasn't been frequented by filmmakers, you know, constantly. And then when cast and crew come from elsewhere, you know, they spend money here too on all the other businesses, and then they leave, you know, loving the Pacific Northwest and loving Seattle, you know, and loving us, you know, loving the film crews here. And, you know, I want to add that Women in Film, you know, we've worked tirelessly to support women working in film, video, and all screen-based media. And these opportunities are not so easy to come by. And this MPCP money would bring more productions to Washington and boost our economy. And who doesn't want that? You know, more jobs. We lose work to Vancouver, BC all the time, you know, and as Andrea said, you know, we've seen our friends leave, you know, because they have to find work elsewhere. in New Mexico or Georgia or LA or so it just would help us be more competitive. It would provide more jobs and support more women, and I think also that I think the figure is that women have comprised 45% of all the directors, writers, producers, and editors on the 4 feature films that were funded by the MPCP over the past 2 years. I mean, that is a boon. That is a boon to us.
It's a model other people should follow.
Yeah. So,
Parody.
we're Women of Film is we're committed to investing in quality filmmakers in the state of Washington, and we want us all to thrive. We want to make movies, and I mean, I've made my living here as a filmmaker and raised a family and pay taxes, and I've invested in Washington. I like Washington to invest in me and other women filmmakers now.
Nice.
And as the letter states, women tend to hire more women.
It's true.
So,
yeah, we like working with each other.
yeah.
Men like working with us too.
Yep. And again, that's not to say none shall pass and no men allowed. It's just historically, women tend to hire more women, so that kind of helps.
Right. I also love that there's a line in there that says, "Oh, and by the way, more filmmakers, more women filmmakers, more women in film members." I was like, "Yeah, go get you put that out there, put that in the letter." So more membership as well. So, well, in the last minute that we have, I know that you started our conversation, Andrea, by talking about some of the events. Like, what are some highlights you want people to put on their calendar so that they can get to know you both and the organization better in the coming months?
Well, always keep on your calendar that the second Tuesday of every month is some sort of amazing program that focuses on an aspect of film. And again, this next one coming up is going to be a town hall. And again, bring your questions. You can go on the Women in Film Facebook page or the Women in Film Seattle.org and email us saying, "Hey, you guys have never mentioned this," or "I want you to mention this again." So, and we are reading them, and we've got a little chart and everything of what people want, and sounds like we're all on the same page. So we'll be addressing those subjects.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, we'd like to hear from people to tell us what they need from us too, because that's part of what we do, is support the community. I've one other thing that I always like to say, just in terms of trying to convince people of the importance of filmmaking. If you think about what has actually sustained us over the past 2 years of this global pandemic, I mean, where have we turned? We've turned to the arts, we've turned to movies and shows, and pandemic has reminded us of the importance of the film industry's role in our society. I mean, we've turned to our creative communities for sustenance, and COVID had an incredible impact on our film industry here, but we rallied, and we were part of an integral part of the economic and social recovery from the crisis. And that's what I'm proud of, our film industry and what we've done and what we've given to this state. And I mean, we just want a thriving, robust, equitable film industry here in this state, and we need help from the legislators
And
$20 million.
to make that happen. Yeah. We need that help.
That would help.
It'd be a nice little gift at the end of next week. So, well,
yeah, it'd be great.
Thank you for participating. I heard that letter went out to all of the female senators and representatives, and I heard from them about the letter. They reached out to me and asked me if I had read the letter, and I was like, I know the most amazing talented people. So yes, I read the letter. So thank you for participating. And for those that are watching, One more week. One more week, and I'm changing my tune this week. It is something feels positive, not just possible. Something feels positive, but this is not the time to let up. This is not the time to say, let someone else do it. This is the time to show up. We got one more week, and then I hope that we're celebrating somewhere together soon. So with that, thank you both for being here so much, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And thank you, Women in Film.